Surprise! Welcome to Podro Pascal, a Pedro Pascal podcast. I'm your co-host, Rachel Leishman, and this is our producer.
I'm here.
Producer Ashley's here, taking over for Katrina. They have a busy week this week. And also, by the time this episode drops, it's their birthday. So we're covering the hard-hitting episode of The Last of Us. But Katrina
Yep.
will be back for Mando and then continuing on with the finale of The Last of Us and Mandalorian as planned. But this time we get producer Ashley.
Yay.
Well, we'll do a top of show check-in since the people haven't checked in with you in a while, Ashley. How you doing?
Oh man. Great. No complaints. I haven't been on since we did Equalizer 2. That was a long time ago. And so many things have changed. I wasn't producing then, but I have been now.
Ashley has been our producer ever since, and you just hear us say, producer Ashley said this, producer Ashley did this, producer Ashley tried to throw a pin. And that's what you hear. Yeah.
How are you?
Exhausted.
Oh no.
Pedro Pascal decided to be busy just as I'm busy. So it's
He's so busy.
He's so
Every
busy,
week we're getting
I'm so
something
busy.
new.
Well, and what is bad is we're getting new not bad. It's great. I'm so happy for him. But we're getting new episodes of things, and then like I almost want to do an entire episode on the fact that he's gonna host Hot Ones. Not host.
I was thinking
He's gonna
that
be a
too.
guest on Hot Ones. Just because I love Hot Ones
Yes.
very much. I can't wait to watch as the Da Bomb just breaks him because I hate Da Bomb. I tried it one time and about died. I didn't even have chicken. I just tried the hot sauce, which was a mistake.
Yeah, I feel like the chicken's supposed to like make it more palatable or something, right?
Well, it wasn't, and I don't know that I would ever try it again. Bad. Da Bomb is bad. And yeah. Anyways, I can't wait for that. I'm very excited about it.
I think we should do an episode for sure if
I
we're
would
all
love
available.
that.
Or yeah.
Question of the century. Yeah.
Right?
If we're all available. Yeah, I'm really excited about. I'm not excited about this episode. This episode is hard. It is, for those who don't know, episode 8 of The Last of Us is for those who've played the game but haven't watched the show yet. Is about David, who is, for lack of a better term, a cannibal.
Yeah.
So
it's a nice way to put it.
Get ready, guys. But it's like this episode has brought up a lot of good conversations. I might be writing about it at work. I don't know, but I really liked kind of the brutality of those guys who had kidnapped or like were trying to kill Joel. Like how brutal he was when he murdered them in it. I like that because I was like talking to my coworker about how I've seen a lot of commentary. It's like, oh my God, sweet baby girl Joel. Joel's a murderer. And I really liked that the show was like, hey, just in case you were thinking he's so sweet, gonna murder these guys. He's still a sweet baby girl, but he murders.
I feel like that scene was definitely on par with the video game too, as far as like his brutality and stuff, for sure.
Yeah. Well, they kept hinting it the entire time. Like the whole series has hinted like, hey, he's done some shit. And we just haven't really seen it because he kind of went into this not like nice guy routine, but he kind of was like calmer and like older. And so you thought like, oh, maybe it's out of his system.
Yeah.
So we'll talk through the episode. We'll talk about everything that happened. It is still very Ellie centric, in a good way. I love how Ellie centric it is. And yeah, overall, what are your thoughts going into this episode?
I played the game, so I think I was really excited to see what things they would change with the cannibal stuff, if they would make it obvious that that's what they were. And I was kind of like surprised how deep they went into it. Like showing bodies just hanging was wild. You definitely didn't see that in the game. Just the things that changed were kind of unexpected, but I think they definitely helped the seriousness of the situation. We'll get into it, obviously, but what did you think? I know you watched the game.
Yes, I've famously watched games and bad at video games. I liked it. Like the David stuff for me, like what stood out from, because I watched it all like within like a not that long of a span.
Yeah,
was like like it took me when I was watching my screeners. It took me and I was like, oh right, this guy, the cannibal. Like didn't stick out. Wasn't something that I really remember until I got to the end, where I was like, oh, I remember this. Like, I remember the baby girl. I remember, like, the crying. But, like, I was like, whatever. This this fucking guy. And I did write about today that we have this thing in apocalypse stories where we're like, and here are the people who became cannibals.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of fascinating how every time we do that in like cinema or television or any kind of medium, it always kind of happens through that group's almost laziness. Like they're I'm
Yeah.
not gonna venture past like, I'm not gonna make everyone move, I'm not gonna venture past our
Like
little area that
excuses.
we've been in. Yeah, they're like, "Well, what else were we supposed to do?" It's like, "Everyone else was fine, I don't
Literally
know why
anything
you
else.
guys." Yeah, I was like, "Everyone else figured it out, I don't know why you guys decided that cannibalism was the only option." He was like, "This winter's tough," and I was like, This was not just a winter thing, like, you guys have
This
clearly
one?
never" Yeah, I was like, "You guys have not planned accordingly."
Do you like
Yeah,
stock up
and
on stuff? I don't know.
it just makes bread, guy. Just make a bunch of bread. You guys can just get fat for the winter. It's fine.
Right?
Relax. Famously,
No
bread makes you
planning.
fat. Thank you, Scott Pilgrim. It's just fascinating to kind of unpack. Like, this is the most that's kind of not lore is the wrong word, but it is the most that like to me plays into the genre of like
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic, like
Struggles.
not zombies, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like that kind of stuff. Getting into it, so the episode starts with Joel now fighting an
Dying.
infection based on yeah, essentially dying. He's fighting an infection, which maybe it's because of the terminology in this world. When Ellie is asking at one point in this episode for medicine for an infection, but doesn't make it clear, like not he's not infected, he didn't get bit. Just I
Yeah.
need like he got wounded. Like the fact that she does not clarify that, I'm like, yo, what do you guys call it in
Medicine
the
is
world?
like they're gonna give you aspirin if you just ask for medicine, like, you have to be specific.
Well, no, but also she said he's infected, and I was like, my brain would have been like, you no, he's gone. No
Yeah, I
medicines
guess
for
you said
him.
infection, so I guess that's different, but just the
Listen,
word
that's
infection,
semantics.
infected.
It's
Yeah.
semantics. Uh, just semantics. But so the episode starts kind of where the last one left off after she kind of stitches him up. He's not doing well, and so she's like trying to find them food and stuff, and she like goes out with the rifle and is hunting, and she clips a deer. So and here's the part where I wrote about this. I said it is the entitlement of people like David in this medium where
Mhm.
like the cannibals always have this level of entitlement for some reason. I'm like, you guys realize you're the cannibals, right? Like, I don't understand why you think you're entitled to things. You're eating
Yeah.
people. Because there's the same thing in the road. Like the road, I remember reading that at school being like eating people. You guys are being real like hoity-toity for
Yeah.
eating people. Um, and then like there were cannibals in The Walking Dead, and it's like whenever the cannibals kind of happen, I'm just like, there are always people who think that they're better than everybody else and they deserve to live more than the other people. Because that's what kind of happens with David.
Yeah, for sure.
Is
I
like,
get that vibe from him.
well, but they show up and they're basically like, we have a lot of people, we need this. And you guys didn't kill it.
Okay.
Go get your own. She killed the thing.
Yeah.
And he like does make a good point. He's like, how are you gonna drag this huge ass
She
deer
didn't think
back?
about it.
No, but they like make a deal, and it's like, and here's the difference between a good person and David. They make a deal, and instead of sticking to that deal, David obviously like goes back and pulls some shit. So David's played by Scott Shepherd, who's terrifying. And I did see a tweet today
Yeah.
from my friend Raven that said he's kind of hot, isn't he? And hadn't
No.
played the game, hadn't played the game, didn't know what was going on, and then had to tweet. I tweeted this like 10 minutes into the
Oh my god.
and just left it up, which I
I feel
really
like that's
appreciate.
as bad as, like, the bloater nonsense, like the
No,
goofies.
the bloater is great. The bloater is hot.
No
That
notes.
is no notes to the bloater. That one is correct. It's just one of those things where, like, I don't know. I think it's funny. Like, that's why I wait till the end. I'll tweet at the end. Basically, David is with James, who is Troy Baker, who was the performer of Joel Miller in the game. So we are getting into the like, so obviously there have been people showed up. We saw Tommy back in Kansas City. Now I got Joel and Marlene is still Marlene, but
She's still here.
she's still the same actress. Troy Baker shows up as James, who is kind of David's like right hand man. And so when the two of them find this deer, and then Ellie's like, it's mine. David's like, I'll stay with you. James go get her the penicillin, like, go talk to so and so, they have penicillin.
Mhm.
And David's like, I have stuff to make a fire. We can go find some shelter and we can go sit. It's 4 miles round trip. It's gonna take a minute. Which he said then I'm like, it should take an hour. That is a tall, skinny man. There's no reason it should take more than
I
it. If
guess it's
round trip,
snowing. Does the
round
snow,
trip
like, slow you down walking through it? I don't know. I haven't walked
I
through
don't
snow in a long time.
they have some plans. Hour and a half, 2 hour tops.
Yeah.
Stay in one location. First of all, Ellie was smart. She was at first like, no, she was not going to a second location, which is back to their compound. Because he's like, come
Yeah.
back with us. And she was like, no, you go, you
Hard
stay with
pass.
me. And does all the right things, like takes all their bullets out of the one gun, like keeps her gun on
Yeah.
her the entire time. Which I almost would have been like, nah, girl, take both guns.
Right?
Like,
Take all their ammo
know
or
what that means.
something.
She did take the ammo out of the gun, she just didn't take it with her.
Yeah.
But so they go and they're waiting and they're just like talking about everything and like he's telling her all about himself now he found religion. He's basically like in the apocalypse. And he's like, well, that's
Ew.
when he started believing. And it's the ick. You get the ick from this guy like right out the
His
gate.
tone of voice just is icky.
You know, and so like okay, I do want to back up slightly. So the episode does start with David kind of talking, and like it's basically a funeral for
Like,
this guy, and this
preaching.
girl is yeah, he's preaching, and this girl is sobbing, David, and this girl is sobbing because her dad died, and she's like, can't we just bury him? And he's like, too much snow. We'll do it in the
Ground's too
spring.
hard.
That should have been your clue. When he said we'll do it in the spring, I'd be like, well, where's he
Nope.
going until then?
And your
Like that
stew
should have
is
been
what's
like
happening.
your key and be like, well, okay, what if we just cremate our dead during the winter? Like
Yeah.
no one asks any questions. They're like, you're right, ground's too
There's
hard.
no
What do
solution they're
you
giving.
mean the ground is too hard? Like, were you gonna keep the body just in a freezer? Like, I would have had 20 other questions. And she's just like, okay. So I couldn't be in a room. I'd be like, nah, I got some questions. Why?
He gives that vibe where
Where
you
is he
just, like,
going?
can't ask questions, you know?
Which is
He's
why
gonna,
I
like,
would be
talk you
bad
in
at it.
circles.
Again, which is why I would be bad at it. Because I'd be like, hi, I have questions. What are you
Yeah.
doing? So, but that happened before. So you kind of already have like this idea like something's not right. So when he's talking to Ellie, it gets worse. And so they're sitting in just like this abandoned little house. There's a fire. They're just talking. Ellie's gun is pointed on him the entire time.
It's so much bigger than her, by the way, like, it's like an adult man's gun.
Yeah, it's
And she's a
probably
14-year-old
Joel's.
girl. It's, like, tiny. Yeah, I think it's just funny. She just,
Tiny,
like, struggles to carry it.
yeah, tiny, tiny, tiny as shit. And she's just like, I got this. Don't worry about it. I'll kill you
Yeah.
if I have to.
No hesitation.
They're just chit chatting. They're hanging out. They're having a conversation. He's asking about her dad. I think
Which
she
she
tells
doesn't
him.
correct him.
Yeah, no, she doesn't
Uh-uh.
correct him. But then he does call Joel her friend later.
Yeah,
And I was trying to figure out when that
that's true.
switch happened, but whatever. He doesn't correct.
Mhm.
Basically she is giving him no information. She's just like, "Where's the medicine? You tell me about you, and then you bring me medicine, and then I leave." Sweet Ellie, that she thought that would work. So James comes back. James tries to pull some shit, and David is like, "No, we said that this is what we were gonna do." Blah blah blah. Because he's like basically gaslighting is not the right word, but he's basically like lying to go and get her anyway. Like he's just making her
Yeah,
he's giving her a false sense of security because he's essentially going to go take her anyway, but he wants her to think like
yeah.
this guy is an
He's letting her
ally.
go.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
also stupid of him to think that she is going to just be like, yeah, you're right, buddy. She takes the medicine. She takes her portion or whatever. I don't remember if she takes the meat, but she just like takes whatever she needs and goes. And James obviously is questioning David about it. And he's like, don't worry, like, we're gonna send them. Because the whole idea is they realized that their man who died was killed by Joel. But like
Mhm.
again, that sense of entitlement, they're angry that he got killed when they attacked them.
Yeah, it's the defense, like, everyone's allowed to defend themselves, and you guys, because your man died, it's not okay.
Yeah, like if it was the reverse and like their guy had killed Joel, they're like, well, it's defense.
Mhm.
But because
Yeah,
Joel, like it's just them being assholes. But
yeah.
so she goes back and she gives Joel the medicine, has a minute, which brings us then to this scene, which is Ellie getting back, giving him medicine, and like Joel, like it's clear that like Ellie is not as like she's not afraid, if that makes sense. Like she's afraid, but she's not like going to let it stop her. Like she knows like, okay, well, I gotta take care of Joel. I
Yeah.
gotta make sure these guys like she knows what she
She's
has to
seeing it
do,
to
and
the
she's like,
end.
she's like, I'm not gonna let my fear kind of overrule me. So she like is going back out like shortly after, and she sees their people coming. I
Yeah.
think we might have some parts mixed up, but this is basically you watch
No,
the
I
episode.
think she hears like birds making noise, I think. And so she goes out to see what's making the noise, like what's causing the ruckus, and then she sees them
Okay.
and then runs
Whatever.
back in to get the
Also,
horse.
if hey listeners, I love you guys. If we have a plot detail wrong, why don't you watch the HBO series The Last of Us and get your full accurate recap. There, we're just having fun. We're chit chatting. Anyways, so Ellie goes outside. She sees all her little feetsies. And she was
Mhm.
like, they're coming. And so
Yeah.
she knows she can't get back to Joel, but he is like hidden. So she thinks it'll be fine. And so she is like trying to hide, and they end up capturing her. And the guys, like David's like, I want her alive. I don't care about him. And she hears that,
Mhm.
and then like they end up capturing her. But Joel, they like go in, and you think they're gonna get him, and then he wakes up in another room, like clearly like the medicine has kind of kicked in. He knows more, like he's more aware. And he like you're like, cool, he can take care of himself. But now we're worried about Ellie because she's in their custody. And so Ellie gets thrown in a little jail. Because David's mindset is he's like, oh, I had to bring you back here because of all the trouble you caused. She did
Mhm.
nothing wrong. She did not a single thing wrong. She simply went hunting. They found her. She was honorable on her deal. In fact, she gave them more
Yep.
than originally planned. And yet somehow they think that she caused them a problem. Their people caused a problem. But, I could go on a whole rant about how it's annoying. I won't, but I could, is my point. She's in this jail, and Ellie like fucks up David's hand. Um,
That whole scene, him just trying to like, we'll be so good together. We could work side by side. And it's like he's coming on to her and she is a child and he is like a
mhm.
whole ass man. I don't think that was in the games like that. I don't think he was predatory like that. If I'm remembering wrong, that
And
was fine, but just like
even if it wasn't like a
still.
sexual thing, it's still gross.
Yeah.
Like no matter
Yeah.
what, it
Either
is
way.
terrifying. Like how he's doing
So
it.
gross.
It's so gross. And it's like you're sitting there like, ugh, and you know that there are
Yeah.
like not to shit on religious leaders, but you know that there are religious leaders like that, and
Yes.
that's what like really kind of freaks you
I didn't
out when
even
you're
think
watching it.
about that.
Yeah, like
That's so
that's what
true.
freaked me out the most is like knowing that there are people like that in this world. He basically is telling her like they eat people. He's like,
She sees the
winter's
ear on the
hard.
ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she does
And
see the
he
ear in the ground.
notices she sees it.
I can't remember if it's later or if it's before, but there's also a part where like meat gets brought in for their supper, and the one girl
Oh, that was
cooking is like, "What
after.
is this?"
Yeah, it was after they brought in the deer from seeing Ellie.
Yeah, well, he says venison, and you're like, "Sure,
Yeah.
is it?
I know,
Is
right?
it?"
Because they kind of all look at each other like, "Mhm."
Well, and it's like
And I
I don't think
noticed.
most of the people know. I think that it is
Yeah.
like their like secret because that girl was like,
Mhm.
"Can I bury my dad?" And
Yeah.
I would feel like if everyone was aware they were eating people, she would be like, "Hey, can I bury him, or is this one for the group?"
Yeah, I think he said, like, just very few people knew about it when he was talking to
Yeah.
Ellie about it,
She's like, "You guys are fucked." She doesn't say that, but she's just
basically.
like basically like, "You guys are fucking weird." He, like, reaches in the bar,
Yeah.
and she, like, pulls his hand through the bar and just, like,
Yeah. They're holding
rips it through sh
hands.
Oh, yeah, they're holding hands, and she just, like, fucking pulls him because she's trying to get the
Yeah.
keys,
Mhm.
which end up not mattering.
No.
Basically, her hurting him is enough for her to get out of the jail cell, but it is very funny that she is like, "I need the keys."
Yeah.
And it's like, he she's out of the jail cell and fighting them anyway, so it's like, "Girl, you coulda just, like, let them take you out." In the midst of this, we're also seeing, like, Joel woke up
So good.
and decided that these guys who decided to fuck around and find out, uh,
Yeah.
did just that. Because like,
He
so
chose violence.
Joel went from these,
Oh.
like, "Hello, I can't do anything," to, like, this. We're all popping kneecap off.
A very
Like,
casual transition here.
he's like, "Oh, I'm so sleepy. I'm so sick. Oh no, I can't breathe. I'm going to die. I'll fucking pop your kneecap off." It's very good, and it's like it is very violent. So if you don't like violence, like maybe don't.
Yeah.
But he basically wants answers. And it's what I really liked about the framing of this episode is it makes it seem like he is trying to go save Ellie, but she
Yeah.
saves herself. Like he doesn't need to do anything.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that he doesn't have to do a single thing to save her. She does it all because it'd be so
She's
easy.
so capable of herself, and she
And
doesn't realize it, I think.
it'd be so easy for him to just be like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm gonna fuck some people up for Ellie."
Yeah.
Um,
Right?
but she did it. By the time he gets
She
there,
did the damn thing.
by the time he gets there, he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, hey, it's me. What's
It's
up? I'm
me.
fine. It's me. I'm fine." But he like so it's building up like in between the two. You don't know what's gonna happen with Ellie. You don't know what's gonna happen with Joel. But he's basically like,
Mhm.
Give me the fucking answers. Like, where is this place?" And the one guy goes, "You're not gonna do anything." He legitimately does. He stabs the man in his kneecap, or like his leg, and then says the kneecap. I can't
Yeah.
remember which it is. I'm not going back and watching it again, guys. It once isn't, or twice at this point is enough. He like gets answers, and then the other guy like basically thinks, "Oh, I'm safe. Like he's not gonna kill me. He needs
Yeah.
me to lead him there," and gives the guy the knife, puts it in his mouth, and said, "Point on the map where it is." And the guy does it, and he goes,
So
"But don't you
good.
need me to take?" Like he like basically is like trying to fight, and Joel just, like, kills him, is like, "Bye," and
Yeah.
leaves because he got
He's like, "I
everything he
believe
needed.
him." Yep.
Damn it, I believe that guy. Bye, and he just, like,
Whack.
vicious, like, I don't give a fuck, like and we haven't seen it, we've heard about it. The
Yeah.
most we've gotten was when he threw that kid in the fire. It's the most we got. It was crazy to, like, see
Well, there was
Joel,
that
like
scene in the beginning where he beats that Fedra cop up with his, like, bare hands.
but
That was crazy.
that was still, like it was flashing to, like, his PTSD with
That's
Sarah.
true.
So it was
Yeah.
still under the thing of, like, "Oh, no,
I'm protecting
Sarah.
someone.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, this" where, like, this is the one where you're like, "Everyone talked about how fucking Joel would murder people,
Yeah.
and we've only, like, seen him, like, snap or, like, we haven't seen it to this level," and so it's like, "Oh, yeah, he fucking will." If you are in his way and he needs answers, like, get to stepping.
Done.
So sorry guys, he's not baby girl, but he is if bad, why hot, which
Yeah.
is great. And not really bad, more like if murder, why hot. Fictional, fictional. This is fictional setting. I don't want to talk about real murderers. Sometimes hot fictional people murder. It happens. So he's basically like, "I'm trying to get my answers. I'm trying to do this shit." And
Mhm.
meanwhile, Ellie is like fighting for her life at the exact same time because she gets let out of the jail cell. She's put on the table, and David is essentially like, "I'm gonna eat you, I don't give a fuck." And they're like fighting each other. She bit
She tells him
David,
she's
and that is
infected.
well, no, but
Yeah.
she bit David, and that is when she said, "You're infected, I'm infected," which
Yeah.
technically she's not lying because she doesn't know what
Right?
happens if she bites somebody. She was like, "Yeah, look at my arm." Like, "You fuck you." And they're like James and David are so stupid. They're both like, "How does that make sense? Like, what with the timing?
Yeah.
Like, how does that what?" And like they're so caught up in the like semantics of like, well, the timing doesn't really work that well according to what we know about being infected. That like she just like
Yeah.
fucks them both up. She gets free of David, and it had like he when she said that he put a
Mhm.
butcher knife like next to her head.
Yep.
And so
Mistake.
she grabs it, and is she the one that kills James?
Yep. She, like, slices his head.
Yeah, and so Troy Baker, rest in peace, is sitting with like
Aw.
the butcher knife in his neck, just like sitting on the wall because he's gone. And Ellie goes running. David, like a freak, grabs that butcher knife and uses it as a weapon in this fight.
Insane.
So Ellie, like, she finds like a piece of wood that is
Mhm.
so it's like embers. It's not a fire, but it has embers, and so she throws it and
Oh, yeah,
catches
yeah,
the
yeah.
building on fire. And it really is funny because it's like, David, you could have just been like, "You know what, I'm gonna let her go away so then like my people have a home." And instead
Yeah, what?
instead he was like, "I will let this place burn before I let her leave."
Get your priorities
Um
straight, my man.
he has no priorities. And so they're like running around the room. They're fighting each other. They're trying to escape. and Ellie, like, is in the kitchen area, and she gets a knife, and basically, like, he says something, and she runs at him and just, like, stabs him, and he, like, is still up and functioning, so he thinks it like, he still thinks he's invincible, and she, somehow gets the upper hand, like, little Ellie gets the upper hand on this adult man, and just is stabbing him, and it's
Oh,
just
so good.
over and over and over again,
Yeah.
just stabbing him,
I feel like
and
that's
it's
so
like
cathartic.
actually,
To just,
like,
like,
stabbing a man seems cathartic.
after all the shit he's, like, put her through, like, she thought she was gonna be eaten. She
I
said,
do feel
"No,
like
sir."
it is the apocalypse version of, like, going to one of those Smash things where you create something and then destroy
Yes.
it. It's like the
Yeah,
apocalypse version of that is, like, the guy who was trying to eat you, like, you get to murder him, like,
that's
it's
a
the
good feeling, I
apocalypse
bet.
version of it. Yeah, when you're in the apocalypse and that guy who was trying to eat you gets murdered, you're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah." Yeah, she just goes to town on him, like, blood all over her face, like, kind of like that moment of, like, "Oh my god, I'm free, like, I did it."
Yeah.
Which, like, it's done so well by Bella Ramsey because it could feel
So
so
good.
cheap because it
Yeah,
is such a quick episode. It is just like Ellie's with David, this is all happening, she's
yeah.
trapped for 2 minutes, she escapes, and it's like, you could think in your brain, like, "Alright, well, you escaped, though, you can unpack everything that coulda happened to you after," but
Mhm,
she like, Ellie is just breaking down and screaming because she realizes, like, everything that could have gone wrong and everything she's just been
mhm.
through and continues to go through, like, just, like, all comes pouring out in that scene, and it's very, very good.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it's
Bella
so good.
Ramsey. But she gets outside, and she, this is, like, just to say, this is what she looks like because he hit her in the nose. This is what she
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like prior to their fight. So she's already a little banged up, from everything going on with David and James. And then she goes outside, and we as the audience can see Joel's coat, and like Joel grabbing for her. She does not know it's Joel, and she
Oh,
starts flipping out when someone tries to touch her. And
yeah.
Joel like turns her around and is like, "It's me, it's me, it's me." Like, "Hey, look at me." And that's when he says the iconic little line, and he says, "It's okay, baby girl." And she is
Mhm.
crying and upset, and then the two of them
Traumatized.
walk off into the snow together, and he is just like, "Okay, you did it. I'm
Yeah,
so proud of you." And that is the episode.
so much.
It is a lot, but it's good. I'm so kind of happy that, like, they didn't try and put Joel in it more or any of that. Like, I like that it
Yeah,
is still hers. I like that they're staying pretty truthful to that because it would be so easy to make, like, I don't know. I think with the way everyone talks about Joel, like, it would be really easy to be like, "Oh, well, Joel is a character. We should for sure put him in this for some reason. Like, he can come back and
yeah,
save her." But, like, not. They're staying true to kinda, like, how that plays into Ellie's story, how that plays into her time with Joel, and it's great. It was
yeah.
really good.
I feel like that's something you definitely need therapy for after, and, that's
You
not in
gotta
the
go find the
apocalypse. So she's
therapist in the
just
apocalypse.
yeah,
You
she's just never
go
gonna talk
find
about it ever again.
Go find a therapist on your journey to the Fireflies, be like, "Hold on, I have my appointment on Tuesday. Then we can go see the Fireflies on Wednesday."
Exactly.
I think it's just genuinely a really good episode. I like what they did with it.
Yeah.
I really like the parallel between Joel, like, you as the audience thinking that Joel's gonna come and, like, fuck these guys up, and you're like, "Yeah, he's gonna
Mhm.
do it," and instead Ellie does it. Like, Ellie's like, "I got myself out of this situation. Like, I'm strong enough to do it myself. I don't want
Yeah.
to, but I can, and I did it."
I think that was really cool in the game that you got to play as Ellie. I think that was the first time you get to play as her. And
Mhm.
so you're kind of like learning how she handles herself and like what she can be capable of as far as like taking care of herself. I don't know, I thought that was fun.
I mean, it is. This is Ellie's part of the story because obviously Left
Yeah.
Behind was not in the game. Left Behind was like a part, like a separate
Mhm.
thing, a part of the game. You can play it, but it is not like
Yeah.
in the main gameplay. So this would have been like what comes right after Joel getting stabbed,
Yeah.
except in the game he got like speared on a thing,
Impaled. Yeah.
impaled on this thing. But in the show, they were like, "Yeah, you can just get stabbed. You're just gonna
Yeah.
get stabbed, and you'll be
I
okay."
think I was listening to the podcast that came along with the episode of how he got hurt, and they're just like, yeah, he could fall from like 2-story high building, but like, what's the practicality in that? It's just easier, like more, I guess, believable for him to be stabbed.
Yeah.
Like, great.
It's more believable for him to get stabbed and survive versus being impaled on a
Yeah.
thing with no
Like, how did
doctors
you
and a
just
full
pull yourself
old
out of it.
and a 14-year-old stitching you up, like, getting stabbed,
Exactly.
I'm like, "Alright, if they didn't hit an organ, like, you'll be fine, like, you're just
Mhm.
bleeding out, so you need to, like, relax," but, like,
Yeah, it's not going through both sides of your body.
they're not like, she couldn't go, "Hello,"
R
to the
exactly.
stab wound. Genuinely, just, like, good episode. I liked it was a good
Emmys all
adaptation.
around.
It's Emmys. David Emmy. Just
Emmys.
kidding. So sorry to that man.
Emmys.
So sorry to that man. Never wanna see you again.
No, I'm good, thanks.
I'm good. I don't need to see you again. Like, terrifying episode in the way
Yeah.
that, like, David interacts with her and then, like, there's no
She left him a piece of, like, food for him to, like, eat in case he, like, woke up before she left. I was like, "She's thinking."
she's thinking he's like, "I'm asleep.
Exactly.
See you guys later." But yeah, genuinely just great. I think it was perfect. Perfect adaptation
Yeah,
of that whole section.
yeah, I agree.
Which brings us, guys, to everyone's favorite part of the week. Stash, 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 the stash, stash, the stash. The stash on everybody's lips is gonna be Pedro's. Welcome to Stash of the Week, where we say our stashes of the week. You guys know at this point. Ashley, what is your
Yes.
choice?
So I'm using user submitted stash. This person got a Boyd Holbrook autograph, and he wrote or drew mustaches on both him and
Mhm.
Pedro.
Yeah, I believe I
And I
have that
think it says
same
ever
I have
been
that same one.
duck hunting. So good. That's my
Yeah, I
stash.
believe that is the same one
A
that I
Javier
got
Pena stash.
that he drew when I wore my Javi, because I think that's my shirt. If I remember correctly, that was my Javi Steve shirt I wore to meet Boyd Holbrook.
So good.
And Boyd Holbrook, believe that's the picture. It's in my room. I don't have it in here. That was what he signed because I had that shirt on, and everyone else is there with like, "Oh my god, the salmon!" All rolled up with a narco shirt on, and I was like, "Hey, I'm really excited." Everyone else was like talking about all this other stuff, and I was like, "Great, great!" Real excited about
The
Indy,
Narcos.
and I have my
Yes.
narco shirt on. Really excited about Indiana Jones. Here's my Narcos shirt. Like,
I am a Boyd Holbrook stan, just like as a separate thing. So like for him to like be excited about Narcos still, despite doing so much other stuff, like that was pretty cool.
oh yeah, and but it is just genuinely funny because it was like you could tell like he was getting a range of things. People were like, I had that shirt on, and one girl on the line recognized it. Like some other girls were
One?
like, "Oh yeah," well, because it was towards the end of the convention. One person was
Okay.
like, "Narcos," and I was like, "Yeah."
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Narcos. Whole time at New York Comic Con where I missed my photo op and they were like,
I
"He's done for
remember
the
that.
day." So I switched it to an autograph. I walked over to the table and I was like, "Can I buy a picture?" I had a picture and then I lost it. And the
Mhm.
guy doing it went, "Here you go. Here's your $20. Here's your money back. Just take a picture with him." And they like gave
Yeah.
me the pictures for free because I was like, I missed my
Please.
photo op. I missed my photo op because I
I'm
was doing
busy.
something else. I was running around. I'm sorry. And then I was like, and now I have to go back and take a picture with Oscar Isaac. I have to change my shirt into my Oscar Isaac shirt.
Like conventions are
I
just like
love
so
him. I love
chaotic trying to get everywhere.
it's great. And then you come with like 4 changes of clothes so you can take
Yeah.
pictures of
You
celebrities
gotta be
for
on theme every time.
yeah. Ay, ay, ay.
All right, what stash have you got this week,
Okay, yes.
Rachel?
I went because I am but a Hot Ones fan. I decided to go with
Oh,
the Hot Ones ad announcing that he was
he
gonna
looks
be on
so good in
Thursday.
red.
Great shirt, great hair, great facial hair. We love Coco. We stan her
I
here.
was literally about to say that.
Coco, if you're listening, we stan you and your work.
A
Yeah,
queen.
I love Hot Ones. That Hot Ones is genuinely like one of the best talk shows. Jenna
I agree.
Ortega just did it, and hers was really good because she was unfazed. Like, I think
Yeah.
Da
How do
Bomb
people
got
do
her.
that?
Well, because like for the most part, they're tasty. Like they're hot, and you're eating a lot of hot
Yeah.
wings, and they get progressively hotter. But like the one
Okay.
that takes everyone out, and as like someone who's tried it, like Da Bomb is awful
Can you just
because you
buy
go to
that
eat it.
somewhere?
You can buy the whole thing. You can buy the whole
Oh
Hot Ones,
boy.
like the whole thing that they do,
Oh boy.
online. But like my friend used to have parties and has all the hot sauces, and I tried bomb with no meat,
Do you
nothing.
just dip
Just
your
was
finger
like,
in it?
yeah, I think I literally put some on my hand and licked it.
Oh
Um,
my god.
I tried it.
Like a tequila shot.
Yeah, I was like, "Moo!" But it's like Da Bomb is it's called Da Bomb Beyond Insanity. But so what it does is, like,
Oh.
you will eat it and you'll be like, "Yeah, this is fine." Oh, and then, like, you will, like I drank a whole thing of water and I was like, it's still coming
Were you
up. Like,
sweating?
I can still taste it. Yes, it was also the summer, so I don't know if it was sweating 'cause it was
Okay.
hot and it was
Yeah.
the summer, but I was sweating. But, like, genuinely just, like, horrible because it keeps coming back. So you, like,
Mm.
think you're like, "I did it.
Yeah.
It's gone." And then you'll just be talking, you're like, "It's back. I don't where did it I didn't eat any more of it."
How
And
long does
it's
it last?
it was probably in actuality, it was probably,
Mhm.
like, 3 minutes, but it felt
Okay. That's not that
it
long then.
felt
But
like
it feels.
forever. Well, you can see, but also they cut things, so maybe it was more. Maybe I'm just being
That's
like,
true.
"Well, the episode was only 3 minutes," but they cut things, so maybe they were doing it for, like,
Yeah.
whatever. It sucks. I can't stand a bomb.
Alright, what's your
Just like
prediction for him handling it? Do you think he'll handle it?
I think he'll handle everything but that. I think he might do like Jenna
Okay.
Ortega where it's like he can handle the majority of it, and then, like, some people eat the whole wing, some people
Okay.
will not, they don't drink anything because,
Yeah, I've
like,
seen those.
the host, Sean Evans, no relation
Mhm.
to Chris or
Chris
Scott,
Evans.
did I always have makes me stop and go, "That's Sean," because Scott Evans is Chris Evans' brother,
Yeah.
but Sean Evans, he matches the guest. So if you
Oh,
were
yeah.
like, "I'm not drinking anything. I'm doing this just like I'm eating the whole wing, I'm not doing anything.
Mhm.
Not doing anything, not wiping my mouth, not doing I'm just going," he would match you.
Jesus Christ.
And so there are people who are like some people put more hot sauce on it because it's all in front of them,
Yeah.
and they'll put more hot sauce on them. They will do it's crazy. I have there's 3. Paul
Okay.
Rudd's is iconic
Oh,
because
so
Paul
good.
Rudd's is where he says, "Look at us, who would have thought?" It's like opening the hot sauce.
Iconic.
Lizzie Olsen, how she ended hers is genuinely like I think we quote it in my apartment often, because at the end, John is like, "Tell the people where they can find you," meaning like,
Mhm.
"What are your next project?" I'm in New York City. Uh, it just, like, did not promote a single thing she was doing. Was just
Tell me where
talking
you're
about New
living,
York.
Lizzie.
And she was like, "I'm in New York City," and, like, was, like, looking around, and it is hilarious. Tom Holland's was really funny because he got his brothers to come out and do it after, and so, like, he
Oh my
swears
god.
so much in his because he's just like, "Fuck this, fuck, it's so hot, blah, blah, blah."
He's so
Then he
upset.
brings out b his brothers are like, "Oh, yeah, you didn't do that so well," and he's like, "You try." Like, we're all
Yeah.
kinda, like, bickering, which was nice.
What I'm most excited about is, like, the questions, because I feel like the interview questions that they do are so good and, like, genuine. So I
Mhm.
think we'll get a lot of good answers and, like, interesting stuff from Pedro.
Oh, for sure, because, like, the whole thing is that, like, he asks questions that, like, you're not thinking because 'cause you're like, "My mouth's on fire."
Yeah. Caught off guard.
I think it'll be really good. I'm really excited, and that was my special leak because I'm really excited about hot ones.
He looks so good in red. That's such a good
Like,
picture.
I'm so excited. Ashley, tell the people where they can find you.
All the Podro socials, I run them all. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. You're always talking to me. I'm here, available.
You can follow me at Rachel Leishman on Twitter, at Rachel_Leishman on Instagram. And make sure to like, rate, review, subscribe, and do all that jazz for Podro Pascal. Because we're great and you should. And
We are
until
great.
later this week when we record Mando,
In like 2
bye
days.
bye. Yeah, in 2 days.
Bye.
Bye bye.